So when the mowing season is finally over, most people will put their leaf blowers away into storage until the next season. Now more than likely, they won't have a lot of leaves to worry about in the fall, so the blower is going to sit unused for several months. So what's the best way to get it ready for storage, either short term or indefinite? Today, I'm going to show you what I would do in that situation. What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by. Today's project is this Craftsman blower, and the problem is that I want to put this blower away for the winter, but I really don't have any plans to use it in the fall or the next mowing season. Now the reason is, I plan on getting rid of it in the future, but when that will happen, I couldn't tell you. That means I have to get it ready for what could be an extremely long storage period, and to be honest, it only requires a little bit more effort than normal. Now, I'm going to try and get this blower ready for storage, however, it's not the only method out there. We'll explore other options later in the video. Now, we're only going to mention what these other options could be. We don't have enough time to look into them, but if you need more information on these options, you're welcome to ask as many questions as you need to. Some of you might recognize this blower from a video where I thought it had low compression, or from a video where we had to fix the pull rope, which had a problem retracting back inside the machine. Now, since this thing is working like it should, I think it's time to get rid of this blower, but it won't be right now because at the time of filming, mowing season is over, which means I need to make sure I store it properly so it works like it should when I get it back out. The most important step to getting this ready for storage is to run the blower until it runs out of fuel, or if you can't do that, at least drain the fuel from the tank. But even if you do that, there's still going to be some fuel left in the fuel system. Now to deal with this, try starting the machine again and again until it won't start anymore. Also, make sure you move the choke lever to full choke and also to the run positions while you try to get it to start. As you just saw, there's still some fuel in the lines even though there wasn't any in the tank. Now the problem is that the fuel in the fuel system isn't enough for the engine to run on, but if I continue to pull the rope, you can see the fuel is still moving through the lines. But to get to that last bit of fuel out of the lines, I have a different method to deal with that. To get every last bit of fuel out of the lines and back into the tank, I'm going to use the Purge Bulb. As you can see, there's still some fuel in the bulb, and if I press it, you can see that fuel will continue to move through the lines, and if I keep pressing it, it will pull all the fuel from the filter line and the carb and put it back into the tank. Now the reason I have the fuel cap off is so I can watch the fuel return back to the tank. I'll keep pressing the bulb until I don't see any more fuel returning back to the tank. So I don't see any more fuel returning back to the tank, but we still have a problem. The bulb itself still has fuel in it. It doesn't matter how much I press it, fuel will not leave the bulb. Now the solution is really simple. Turn the machine so that the bulb faces upwards and then continue to press the bulb. This should empty the bulb out. Now the reason this works is because the fuel can't reach the opening to completely leave the bulb, and that's the way it's designed. However, in this case, we do want all the fuel to return back to the tank. Now once all the fuel has left the bulb, we can then pour out whatever came back to the tank. The reason we want all the fuel gone is because if any of it is left in the system, it could turn into a varnish and clog all the tiny passages inside the carb. The last thing I want to do is spray a fogging oil inside the engine, which should keep rust from forming and lubricate the internal components to make sure they work years after I put it into storage. Now don't hold it against me, but I'm not going to follow the directions, and the reason is because I already emptied the fuel system, so I can't start the engine to inject it the way they want it done. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem because the stream from the nozzle is strong enough to get the product through a small engine like a leaf blower. Now after spraying the fogger into a glass jar, it looks like WD-40 or any thin lubricant, but more likely this stuff is meant to stay on a surface for a longer period of time than those products. Now for larger two-stroke engines, I would probably follow the directions. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be a huge issue, and our main problem, which was the fuel system, has already been taken care of. Now to use the fogger, I'm going to put the nozzle into the carb's throat and squeeze the trigger. That way the fogger will make its way through the carb and inside the engine. I'll then pull the rope a few times just to make sure it circulates through the engine. Now, for even more protection, I'm going to remove the spark plug and spray some of the fogger into the combustion chamber. I don't think you can use too much of this product, but I would hold back just a little because a little goes a long way. Once that's done, I'll then replace the spark plug and put the air filter back on the engine. Now, another option to make sure this engine will start when I pull it out of storage is to put the piston at the top of its travel. This should give the piston ring plenty of room to expand away from the piston and hopefully not get stuck in the closed position. I've never had to resort to that, but if it was something I really cared about, I might actually do it. Now, if you're in a desperate situation and don't have any WD-40 or fogging oil, I would stay away from using motor oil as a lubricant. However, if I was in that situation, I might try using automatic transmission fluid, but I've never done it, so I would do this at your own risk. So my question is, would you go through all this effort to avoid the engine getting some rust inside it and having a fuel system issue like a clogged carb once it gets out of storage? Or am I just being paranoid and trying to avoid a major headache from ever happening? Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions, and I hope to see you in the next video.